Mr. Raju Limbachiya. He is the Group Chief Financial Officer, Greenville LNG Limited. All right, over to you, sir. Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for him. All right, sir. So you'll be having 5 minutes to speak before we call on the moderator, and then we have questions.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for inviting me. And as Madam said, the presentation was good. It put the context exactly what Africa needs. But I come from the finance background, and normally I say is that when the industry booms, gold rush starts, low-hanging fruits are the first to capture. So most of the African countries, in terms of the export, they have captured the low-hanging fruits by putting those mega terminal, be it in Nigeria or in Algeria or in Mozambique. If we are talking about Africa specifically, for the industrializations or for the prosperity of the masses, energy security, what I am referring to is that it requires a very different kind of a solution. One of the speech Mr. Falade gave, he was referring to the stranded gas. Now, if you go to the Africa, especially in Nigeria, in Tanzania, in Mozambique, maximum gas is a stranded gas. Now, if you are referring to the stranded gas, then either you have to build a pipeline, capacity building, or you have to make sure that industries are there nearby those upstream areas, wellheads. And 99% of the cases or majority of the cases, that's not the cases, because oil and gas, as you know, is always on the difficult area. And that's where the company like Greenville comes into picture, where we go into those difficult area and build a mini or small scale LNG plant, and with our virtual pipeline, we supply the LNG all the way from south of the Nigeria to the north of the Nigeria or the northeast of the Nigeria, all the way to the Maiduguri. Now, nobody would have imagined few years back that there would be LNG available in Borno State, where we are supplying for NNPC 35 megawatt power plant. Similarly, in the Sokoto. I don't want to exaggerate, but that's a fact that all the gas which is going in the north is being supplied by Greenville. Now, that's possible because of that 10 years back, our chairman, Eddie Van Dyke Broek, he realized that this will be a challenge. What we are addressing is a niche market. We are not addressing a mass market like which is there in Europe or in Asia or in China, where there is an industry and the credible off-takers across all the locations. Here we are talking about the patches of the customers where they are looking for 10 ton or 1 megawatt, 2 megawatt, 5 megawatt. And for that, you cannot build a pipeline. Now, AKK is coming. That's welcoming news. We will know when that supply starts. But the size of the AKK pipeline, as of now, doesn't justify the demand which is there in the north. Of course, one day the industrial revolution will start, but at this point of time, if you are talking about the LNG for Africa, import is not going to be there. And the reason I am saying is that if you go to, for example, Senegal, in Dakar, I was there 2 years back when we were doing the same exercise which you are talking about. To my surprise, I saw the FSRU. FSRU is a floating storage and regas unit, standing over there for more than 3 years. And when I asked the people, they are saying they are, yeah, one of the big IOC, without giving the name, the government has signed the contract for supply of LNG for the Senegal. And for 3 years, the government is paying, I don't know how much, but conservatively $50,000 per day as a cost, and not a single kilo of LNG or gas, for that matter, has come to the country. So the main point which I want to highlight is that Africa needs gas, of course, renewable. When it comes, but as of now, the country has to, all the countries for that matter, has to utilize its own potential, and gas is one of them. And to that potential, they have to use the innovative solution. We cannot just provide the general solution like those big terminals, and then we talk about the regas and pipeline. It's going to be a catastrophe, especially when we are talking about the regulatory challenges, finance challenges, FX challenges, not to highlight on the vandalism. And you know in what happened in 2022, I mean when that Trans-Niger pipeline was completely broken and the entire Nigeria was crippled because of the crude which was getting stolen from the TNP, that affected the entire gas, not only for us but also for LNG. And I believe LNG paid a big the damage to one of the trader in the arbitration, billions of dollars, because of not supplying the LNG. So that's the few points which I want to emphasize. If the few things are fixed, I believe the Nigeria personally, very close to my heart, has a big potential. I mean, we don't have to go to the moon to see why there is a potential. You have to just look around your shoulders. If you go to the Middle East, they have just fixed one thing. If you go to the Middle East, you will find one thing which will be on the lips of all the investors, which is the regulatory policy stability. That's it. You know, you will not find any questions around the financing, around the risk, around the economics, around the payback. You take any kind of those the standard success factor or critical risk, those will not be on the face of those investors. They will only mention if the regulatory stability is there, then they will put billions of dollars, and that's the case. Most of the IOCs, they have partnered with the Qatar, with UAE, in Saudi, in Oman. They are putting billions of dollars. The major reason is the regulatory stability, policy making stability. If we Africa fix those stability, and which you correctly highlighted, where there is a cross-border supply. Now, imagine if there is a pipeline between Nigeria and Cameroon, or Nigeria in other part of the landlocked country, and if there is a one showdown between the leaders, you can anticipate what's going to happen. So, and based on that gas pipeline, no investor is going to put money in those countries. And that's why it requires a very niche solution, which I was referring to. Thank you.